Hi everyone, it's Georgia and welcome to Mama's Soul Food and Meditations. So today I'm going to share a little story with you, actually a couple little stories. I'm here in the woods again, my home away from home, or maybe the woods are my home, and when I visit the city, that's my home away from home. Something to think about. Anyways, I wanted to share what the title of is about, miracles, magic, and mystery. So those experiences, miracles, magic, and mystery, those are all sort of the things of life that are on the quiet side, right? We have our intellectual side and our action side, sort of the masculine traits that we all have within us, masculine energy, the do, the go, the think, the act, the decide, we all have that aspect inside of us. But when you start to talk about things like miracles, and that speaks to, you know, maybe something spiritual or magic or the unknown or the things of the unconscious, the unseen, those are all the feminine side of things, right? The subtle, the inward, the feeling. So one of the things that I got over the last few weeks was reconnecting to that aspect of who I am. Even though I'm a woman, I have strong masculine drive, if you know me. So sometimes I get very caught up in that. Like that's where all the answers are, and that's where you start, and that's, if I have money, then, it's all kind of about that outward, tangible. But those subtle things of life are what I reconnected to and opened up to over the last few weeks. And why do we do that? Well, number one, it feels good. It feels good to feel good about other things than just productivity and kind of action. Like just to feel and to feel good in different ways. And it also helps me to tap into the other ways that I can hear myself. Yes, the logic brain is great. It's not always accurate. But when you tap into these subtle things of life, you hear yourself in different ways, right? When you see life through the lens of miracles or magic or mystery, you broaden your perspective on life, and you're just hearing and interpreting life through different ways of knowing. And there are many ways of knowing. So I'll tell you my stories, and then I'll pull some oracle cards. But first of all, I want to talk about a miracle. So the other night, well, maybe like a week ago, I was sitting outside. It was getting dark, and I was praying, and I pray a lot. And there's some things that I really want to have happen in my life that feels impossible that they're going to happen. And so I just asked for what I wanted from the universe. I asked the universe for a miracle. And this time in my praying, I said it out loud. I said, God, I want a miracle. I want it to show up big. I want it to change this, this, and this. I want to be surprised. And I want a miracle. Now, I don't always get insistent with God, but I also believe in the power of expressing things out loud. That's a little guy in his cart in the campsite. So I said it out loud. And you should always be careful when you say things and ask things out loud, because you are heard, right? You never know how that response is going to come through. But let me say this. Right as I said that out loud, suddenly behind me, there was a large rustling sound. I have woods right behind me. And it was a beast. You know, it was like dusk. And it was a beast of some sort. It was large because you could hear the rustling. And in 40 years of coming to this place, I have never heard an animal that close or that large. Maybe wild turkeys, and they get pretty big, but this was a large animal moving. And then I heard a strange grunting sound, like I don't know, I just imagined a huge moose making this noise through its mouth that was like a breath. And then I heard it do 3 howls. Like I don't want to do it because every time I do it, my kids make fun of me. So it was this release of a breath and then 3 shrieks almost. Now, for a minute, I thought, okay. I looked into the woods to see if I could see it. And I didn't see anything. And I heard it moving and I got scared. I have never been scared here. And I thought, well, even if it is a big buck, it's awfully close to the house. So I went inside. Now, the next day, I just happened to Google Bigfoot, Sasquatch in Ohio. And, you know, as it was last month, only 30 minutes away, the National Bigfoot Convention had taken place. I'm just saying. And I started to laugh to myself. I thought, oh my God, what if it was Sasquatch? So then I thought, well, whether it was a buck or Sasquatch, why would that happen right when I asked for a miracle out loud? Why? Then the next thing that happened, a week later, early in the morning, sitting out here on the deck, and I thought I would test it. I thought I'd test it again. And quietly, I said, God, I still want a miracle. And don't you know, there was rustling in the woods, not even 20 feet away from me, and it was significant, and I got up and I went in the house. I thought, is Sasquatch like just hanging out behind me, waiting for me to say my prayers out loud? I don't know. And so, there's our mysteries. And then magic, just 2 nights ago. I was sitting here and a large, I'm pretty sure it was one of those dark colored hawks, or it wasn't a turkey buzzard. They're hawks, but they're just kind of dark colored. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. There was a chance it might have been a hawk, a regular hawk, or even an eagle, because there are eagles around here. All I know is this bird was huge. And it was flying low through the woods. Normally, all the birds here fly high because, of course, the winds are nice here in southern Ohio. And this bird found a perch, maybe 40 feet away from me. And he perched in his tree and he ruffled his feathers and he sat there for quite a long time. And he was showing off to me, I know he was, because he was sunning himself and just spreading his wings. And it felt magical because he was so close. And so obviously just enjoying himself, being amazing. Huge animal. Of course, the next day, as I was taking my walk, I found the gifts left behind. I guess he just needed to perch and primp and get all of his old feathers off. And what a story that one is. To be sitting in the sun, letting go of what no longer you need. And releasing the weight, even if it's a feather, but releasing the weight of what you don't need anymore so that you can fly more free. And boy, did I enjoy finding these. It was like, I rarely find feathers as pristine as these. So just finding these felt like magic. And what is magic? Stuff beyond your control. And in my case, that makes my life feel more delightful. Because when I trust in some magic, when I trust in the magic of life, meaning that the universe is always wanting us to be delighted, I find it. When I listen for it, it shows up. And that's what these represent for me. So, miracles, magic, and the mystery of it all. That's the hardest thing about taking time to listen to the subtle part of who you are. It doesn't give us the information we think we need in the ways we think we need it. But the truth is, the subtle world is always speaking to us, always teaching us. The subtle world is what sculpts insight and awareness and wisdom. The mental world is wonderful, but it's often not rooted with logical thinking. Logic, right? There's a lot of emotion involved that comes through our thinking even. The subtle world, though, it has its own language. So for me, it gives perspective. What am I going to do with all of these? I don't know. I could leave them here at this cottage. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the number 9 has been significant for me over the last few years. I may, in fact, have a number 9 path, a numerology pathway. I better look that up. But so anyway, maybe the number 9 is important to you. Miracles, magic, and mystery. They're happening all the time, and yet we don't always take the time to listen to them, right? Or ask for them. So if there is a Bigfoot, and he is hanging around my house in southern Ohio, I'm going to have to let myself believe in that possibility. Perhaps that's what is meant through those experiences. I prayed a prayer for a miracle, and then I was thrust into considering possibilities I had never considered before. And maybe the mere fact that I opened my mind is the miracle. Because we as human beings, we just like to keep our minds pretty small. So it's beautiful here. There's a storm though somewhere happening because I feel the moisture in the air, and I hear some distant thunder. So anyways, let's pull some cards and see if anything is augmented in this story. I'm going to trust whatever one lands on my feathers. This is from the Law of Attraction, Teachings of Abraham Well-Being cards. They have many different cards around. I am life everlasting. I am an eternal being. Well, I like that, and I'll read the back, but you know why I like that is because one of the things that comes from spending time in nature is realizing, even as human beings, we are forever. Our souls, our energy exists without our body. And it's so awesome when you connect with the energy, the flow of nature, the birds, things of that nature. It's like you just realize that you're connected to bigger things. And our lives that we usually interpret pretty through a small lens are made more rich by understanding that we're just part of this other bigger flow. And that makes life everlasting, right? In my book. You cannot die. You are everlasting life. In grace, you may choose to relax and allow your gentle transition back into your non-physical state of pure positive energy. Your natural state is foreverness. Let me read that again. You can't die. You are everlasting life. In grace, you may choose to relax and allow your gentle transition back into your non-physical state of pure positive energy. Your natural state is foreverness. It's a lovely message. When I'm ready to go, I'm going to choose to go back into pure positive energy, which is what I am now. I just have cells, meaty cells attached to my being. But separate from my meaty cells and skin is a life force that arrived as pure positive energy. And that, my friends, is forever. Once again, we come back to mystery. When my son was 17 years old, I'll never forget, I sat down with him and I said, I got to tell you something. He said, what, Mama? I said, 70% of life is mystery. 10% is knowing what you're doing, and 20% is somewhere in between. And then we had a good laugh about that because last week we just talked about that again. And then we decided 90% of life is mystery. 1% is what we think we know, and 9% is everything in between knowing and not knowing. And it was just funny because it's okay. It's okay just to be appreciative of being pure positive energy, figuring it out one step at a time. And you have forever to do it in. So I hope that's helpful to you, and I hope that you're enjoying your day, whatever you're doing. Be blessed.